Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Nachari Jamunatira Nachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjali Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjali Hari Govindana Ballabha Givadadari Yashodanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Junatira Vanachari Junatira Vanachari Jaya Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivar Kacharistira Sata Sri Srimad Chidandi Goswami Shilesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivar Kacharistira Sata Sri Srimad Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prince Kaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Guru Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamun Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Marani Ki Jai, Bhakti Dev Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Grantharaja Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 4th canto, chapter 11, verse 17. Nimitta matram tatrasin Nirguna Purusharshabha Vyaktya Vyaktam Idam Vishvam Yatra Brahmati Lohavat Nimitta Matram Tatrasin Nirguna Purusharshabha Vyakta Vyaktam Idam Vishvam Yatra Brahmati Lohavat Nimitta Matram Tatrasin Nirguna Purusharshabha Vyakta Vyaktam Idam Vishvam Yatra Brahmati Lohavat Ladies, Nimitta matram, remote cause. Remote cause. Tatra, then. Asit, was. Nirgunaha, uncontaminated. Purusha Rishabhaha, the Supreme Person. Vyakta, manifested. Avyaktam, unmanifested. Idam, this. Vishvam, world. Yatra, where. Brahmati, moves. Lohavat, like iron. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. My dear Dhruva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. He is the remote cause of the creation of this material cosmic manifestation. When He gives the impetus, many other causes and effects are produced, and thus the whole universe moves, just as iron moves by the integrated force of a magnet. Purport. How the external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead works within this material world is explained in this verse. Everything is happening by the energy of the Supreme Lord. The atheistic philosophers who do not agree to accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the original cause of creation think that the material world moves by the action and reaction of different material elements. A simple example of the interaction of elements occurs when we mix soda and acid, and the movement of effervescence is produced. Srila Prabhupada was a chemist, so he's pulling a little of his. But he commented once, chemist is not a big thing. It's just a simple matter. You learn this, mix this, that. Not a big deal. But one cannot produce life by such interaction of chemicals. There are 8,400,000 different species of life with different wishes and different actions. How the material force is working cannot be explained just on the basis of chemical reaction. A suitable example in this connection is that of the potter and the potter's wheel. The potter's wheel rotates, and several varieties of earthen pots come out. There are many causes for the earthen pots, but the original cause is the potter who sets a force on the wheel. That force comes by his superintendence. The same idea is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Behind all material action and reaction, there is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna says that everything depends on His energy, and yet He is not everywhere. The pot is produced under certain conditions of action and reaction of material energy, but the potter is not in the pot. In a similar way, the material creation is set up by the Lord, but He remains aloof. As stated in the Vedas, He simply glanced over it, and the agitation of matter immediately began. In Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that the Lord impregnates the material energy with the part and parcel jivas, and thus the different forms and different activities immediately ensue.
Because of the different desires and karmic activities of the jiva soul, different types of bodies in different species are produced. In Darwin's theory, there is no acceptance of the living entity as spirit soul, and therefore his explanation of evolution is incomplete. Varieties of phenomena occur within this universe on account of the actions and reactions of the three material modes. But the original creator, or the cause, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is mentioned here as Nimitta Matram, the remote cause. He simply pushes the wheel with his energy. According to the Mayavadi philosophers, the Supreme Brahman has transformed himself into many varieties of forms. But that is not the fact. He is always transcendental to the actions and reactions of the material gunas, although he is the cause of all causes. Lord Brahma says, therefore, in the Brahma Samhita 5.1, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. There are many causes and effects, but the original cause is Sri Krishna. Om Agyanatmandasya Gyananjana Shalakam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Kankaroti Vachalam Bangalangayati Girim Chakri Patamaham Vande Shri Guru Tinataram Paramanam Madhavam Shri Chaitanyeshwar. Hare Krishna. Nimitta Matram. This term is used here in one sense, in a little different sense in the Bhagavad Gita. I'll now try to use in that sense and pray that by the grace of Srila Prabhupada and you, assembled Vaishnavas, my senior devotee friends, that I can be an instrument to discuss and understand and try to realize what Srila Prabhupada is speaking of here in Srimad Bhagavatam. We are all sitting here thinking we are the cause of all causes. Each one of us is thinking that we are causing our presence in this room. How many of you think that you landed up here by accident or just happened? No, you all think, well, I got up this morning, I took a bath, I came to the arti, I walked to here. We are all thinking that we are moving according to our power. We see ourselves as the cause of our activities. So what is the fact? Are we the cause? What do you think? You don't know? Good answer. Are we the cause of our activities in this world? No, we're not. Then why are we suffering? If we are not the cause, then why are we responsible? If someone is the external cause of something. I bump into you, Ekalavya, because I wasn't looking. And you fall down and you crack your head and whatever. People call it an accident. They don't consider that I caused it directly. It has happened. And therefore, I'm not responsible. I'm not called off to jail. But if I hit you over the head and you fell down, then I'm arrested for physical battery. So we're suffering various karmic results of our activities. And if we're not the cause of those activities, then that's not fair, is it? What do you think? So it is a little confusing. Krishna says, what is it in the Bhagavad Gita? Who knows the verse well? That one thinks that one is, the verse I'm thinking of is where the living entity bewildered, yes, guna karmani, hankar vimudatmas, kartaham, 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 kartaham. That's the verse. Ahankar vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. Vimudhatma. Krishna is saying that if we think kartaham, we're fools. It's only our ahankar, it's our false ego, to think that we are the karta. But are we? Are we not the karta? So just like so many things in our philosophy, we are both the karta and not the karta. We are not the cause of this material world. We are not the cause of our bodies. We're not truly the cause of getting up in the morning. Any of you who have been a little sick sometimes may remember times when you were flat on that bed and you wanted to get up, but you just couldn't move. Anyone experience that? Yes. You couldn't move. You wanted to move, but you couldn't move because you did not control. You don't have that control. The body moves according to the material nature. We only think we are moving about this body. This is ahankar. This is the karana sharir of the living being. To think, I'm the cause of this body. That I am the doer in the body. But we are not. The energy of Krishna is acting. But how is it acting? Why is it acting? What is the remote cause? The immediate cause, that is the energy of the Lord. But the remote cause is, first of all, the jiva. Here Prabhupada says, because of the different desires and karmic activities of the jiva, because of the desires of the jiva, you are the jiva, the jivatma. You desire. Desire is the function of you, the soul. It has no, material energy doesn't desire anything. The material energy simply acts. There is no quality of desire in the material energy. The material energy works under the direction of Krishna in accordance with our desires and what else? Yes. But what is the sanctioning of the Lord based on? His plan. He has a plan. This world is not simply just an accident that Krishna fell asleep and poof. We said when we fall asleep, dreams come, right? You get dreams. Some people don't, or they don't remember their dreams. I get all kinds of dreams. And these dreams, they just come. You can relate it to something that happened, but they just sort of appear. Very weird things sometimes. So it's not that Krishna fell asleep and then had a dream and this world created and oh, whoa. What was that? No. This is a plan. We are here. We are sitting here, each one of us, for a reason. Krishna has a plan. Why? You have some desire. So there's that part of it is there. That you are the karta in that sense because you are desiring. And because you are the karta in the sense of your desire, you also get the karma. The karma comes to you. Otherwise, Jiva Goswami discusses this. And if there was no karta, if the jiva was not the karta, then then karma would have no meaning. It would have no meaning. So yes, on one level, through our desire, through our attention, through our power of attention, we set things in motion. Things get set in motion. But actually, they're not set in motion by us. Only Krishna can put it into motion. We have no power over this energy. We have absolutely no power over any of this energy. Nothing. We can't even touch it. It is Krishna's energy. He is supremely powerful. It is only His energy, His desire that can move anything. Not a blade of grass moves on the energy of the jiva. Our energy is minute, tiny, and in this environment, when we have forgotten our spiritual form, we have no manifestation of our spiritual senses. We have no manifestation of our spiritual bodies. We are in these material bodies, and we can't do anything about it. We can't make it get up when it can't get up, or we make it move when it can't move. We're totally dependent on the energy of Krishna. He makes it move. Now, He doesn't need to be there personally. All he has to do, he sets it in motion. He just glances over this material energy and it moves into motion and everything starts to take shape. Even this, Prabhupada gives a little hint to Darwin and says, even Darwin's theory of evolution, he doesn't say, he says it's incomplete. Evolution even takes place. Species change, things happen. But it's all been set in motion by Krishna according to a plan. And what is the plan? What is Krishna's plan? What do you think? Go home. Bring us home. Bring us back to Godhead. That's his plan. His plan for you, for me. Ekalavya, you've preached in America. Have you ever run into the Campus Crusade? The Campus Crusade in the college campuses? No, Campus Crusade for Christ? Yeah. I don't think any of you have run into the Campus Crusade. But they have a very simple message. It's a Christian evangelists. And they start off that God has a plan for you. Because most of us are, of course, you have come here, so you've awakened. You've awakened to some knowledge. Now you become aware, yes, Krishna does have a plan. God has a plan for me. I'm not just wandering in this world, hopeless. Just think, you yourselves, I see a lot of yellow clothes here, and I assume that means that you're somewhat new to this ashram and this practice. Is that right? I sometimes wear yellow too, so it doesn't necessarily mean anything. But I'm assuming that you're all somewhat new, right? How old are you? 26. And how long have you been in this ashram? 1 week. Haribol, Hare Krishna. So perhaps it's fresh in your mind. Your feeling in the world before hearing about Krishna and the Bhagavad Gita and Srila Prabhupada's message. Perhaps, did you feel a little lost? You didn't. You knew where you were going. You must have been raised in a Vaishnava family. Were you raised in a Vaishnava family? So what brought you to come here? And before you associated with devotees, how did you start associating with devotees? To base, okay. Base camp. Oh, okay. So you've been studying for some time. So maybe you remember before you met that devotee, you were studying, you were in school, college, you were in job. Oh, that's even worse. So you're in a job and you're thinking, what will happen? Were you thinking like that? What's the use? Before you were just curious. So Maya had not yet done its job. Maya also has a plan. Krishna has a plan. Maya is Krishna's plan. Part of Krishna's plan is Maya. Maya is part of Krishna's plan. That seems a little difficult. If Krishna's plan is to bring us back to Godhead, then why does he give us this Maya? Because, and as you're all learning, it's not Krishna's plan to drag us back to Maya, to drag us to Maya, to drag us back to him. Maya's plan is to drag us to her. And she does. But Krishna's plan is to attract us back to him. So in this verse, that attractiveness is a little bit mentioned. Lohatva, the magnet. So Krishna is like that. There's another verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 7th canto, 5:14. For iron to be attracted by a magnet is natural. Similarly, for all living entities to be attracted towards Krishna is natural. And therefore the Lord's real name is Krishna, meaning he who attracts everyone and everything. Just contrary, then I'm skipping it forward a bit. He talks about Vrindavan. Just contrary to the affairs of Vrindavan is the material world, where no one is attracted by Krishna and everyone is attracted by Maya. How many of you, well, you've all educated, so you know the basic principles of magnetism, right? So in a magnet there are two poles, right? Positive and negative. And what becomes attracted when the magnet is there? The positive side attracts what? The negative. And the negative side attracts? So for us, what does it mean? I learned this recently from a young lady's blog. It was a beautiful story she related. In our life, to become negative in the sense of small, humble, when we consider ourselves small and humble and without power, we naturally become attracted to Krishna. Krishna, the positive, the all-attractive, attracts us. But when we are proud and all positive, thinking we are so good and great, then we don't get attracted to Krishna. We're attracted to the other side. It's still Krishna, but it's the negative side, Maya. His Maya energy is on the backside, ready to attract us when we get all positive of ahankar. When we think, I am the cause, the doer, the source, the center of everything. That false pride, that false ego, the big ego, very positive ego. Yes, I'm so good, I'm doing wonderful, I'm on top of the world. That is the sign, that is the signal. Maya, pulls us. And we're attracted to Maya. But when we realize our true ego. We're infinitesimal parts and parcels of Krishna. We have no power, only we have desire. And if we can turn that desire towards loving Krishna, Krishna pulls us in. This is his plan, to pull us in, pull us in, pull us in. We simply have to open ourselves to his holy names. He is so kind to have come in the form of his holy name, so accessible, so immediately accessible at any time, at any place. We don't have to struggle to get to the temple and then we can get darshan of Radha Parthasarthi. All we have to do is open our mouth, and not even open our mouth, we can just hear in our minds the name of Krishna. And he is there to attract us, to pull us forward, to bring out our love for him. To pull it out. So, we all should be thankful to Srila Prabhupada to have brought us into this consciousness of Krishna, who now is attracting us, pulling us forward, and engaging us in his plan. And this book is my reminder that we have a few more minutes to also mention some things about this day. I'll begin by a short related story about today is, first of all, it is the Balaram Ras Yatra. So how many of you have wondered a little bit about Balaram Ras Yatra? I mean, Krishna does Ras Leela, Balaram serves Krishna. How did this happen? So it's a long story. By the grace of different disciples of Gaur Govinda Maharaj, there's a publication called Krishna Kathamrita Bindu, which has an article all about this, so if you get a hold of that, you can read it. But it's a long story about how Balaram came to Vrindavan, but Krishna did not come. And one of his missions was to pacify the gopis. But in various ways, Krishna hinted how he should do this. And one of those was to have the Ras Leela. But not with the gopis that Krishna had Ras Leela with. This is the main point. When Krishna performed his Ras Leela in Vrindavan, there were many young girls who were too young to go for the Ras Leela. But by the time Balaram arrives, they were now of that age and temperament to satisfy their desire to get closer to Krishna, because Krishna said that through you I will give them happiness. So that is the Ras Leela. So you can read more about it if you look up. In addition, today is the appearance of Shyamananda Prabhu and Vamsivanam Thakur. So, let's see here. Where is Vamsivanam?
148.
That's Shyamananda.
152.
Vamsivadan. I'll just briefly read about Vamsivadan. I'll summarize because we're running out of time. So when Vamsivadan Thakur appeared, Lord Chaitanya and Sri Advaita Prabhu were staying in his home. That's quite an auspicious birth with God in your home. Double God, Lord Chaitanya and Advaita. After the disappearance of Srimati Vishnupriya, Vamsi Das moved her Mahaprabhu deity to Koladweep. Oh, that's very interesting. And he began worshipping him along with Pranabalaba, a deity of Krishna. So is that that's the deity in Dhameshwara Mahaprabhu? This is the same deity. Vamsivadan wrote wonderful poems and songs expressing the philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. He was also the incarnation of Lord Murli Manohar's flute, Vamsi. So it's not surprising that Vamsivadan Thakur's work contains sweet and mellow expressions of devotion. So you can't hear. So it says that, first of all, that the deity that Vishnupriya was worshipping. Now she had a Mahaprabhu deity. That's very interesting. Okay. He was born, right. He was born, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were there in his home when he was born. Then after some time, Mahaprabhu is left, Vishnupriya is worshipping him as his deity, but then when she disappears, Vamsi brings that deity to Navadvip, and that you can go and see that deity of Dhameshwara Mahaprabhu. And it's also stated here that Vamsi was Vamsi. He was the incarnation of the flute of Murli Manohar. Now, Shyamananda Pandit is, of course, a very, very important person in our life because he began our Sankirtan book distribution. But there are other pastimes here are talked about how Dukhi Krishna, Shyamananda was born as Dukhi Krishna Das because his parents had lost several children. But when he took Dikha from Hriday Chaitanya, he became known as Krishna Das. So he was Dukhi Krishna Das, and now he became Krishna Das. And in Vrindavan, he joined Narottam Das Thakur and Srinivasacharya. So these three, as you know later on, they were the ones to take the works of the Goswamis to Bengal to begin book distribution. And he studied there. So many ankle bell stories. This is written by Mahanidhi Maharaj, I believe. Right? And so he's relating that there are actually a number of stories about how Krishnadas received Radharani's mercy and the name Shyamananda and his unique tilak mark. So one of these stories is that he used to sweep the streets before dawn in Vrindavan, and one morning he found a beautiful ankle bracelet. And somehow Lalita and Vishaka appear and ask for it. That's not quite described how they appeared, but somehow they appeared to him, and they asked for and Krishna said, well, this is not your bracelet. Who is the actual owner? So blindfolding Krishnadas, the gopis brought him to Srimati Radhika, and she allowed him to put the bracelet on her ankle. Now there's a whole other story that's not described here about the controversy around this. Because Krishnadas touched the this ankle belt to his forehead and left a tilak mark. And Jiva Goswami gave him the name of Shamananda. But Hridaya Chaitanya was actually upset about this, and that's not described here, because he was wondering what happened to his disciple. He's coming here with this new tilak, and he got quite a new name, and what's going on? And then there was, who knows that, but then there was some, I think in Hridaya Chaitanya had a dream, or maybe he tried to wipe it off, or wasn't it? He tried to rub off the tilak, and it wouldn't come off. And was there a dream involved? Or? Anyway, somehow Hridaya Chaitanya is convinced. So Shamananda is quite a very extraordinary person. And under the instruction of Hridaya Chaitanya, he's gone to preach. With the help of his foremost disciple, Rasikananda, Shamananda profusely spread the worship and service of Gaur Nityananda all over Orissa. How many Oriyas are Orissa? How many Orians are here? You have a few. So you have a special business today to thank Shamananda for preaching in Orissa. So we have just a few minutes. So if there's any burning questions that you must bring forth, so I can that are very simple and quick, that I can answer in 1 minute, right? Or Mohan Rupa will be upset. No, he's gone, so I don't have to. Okay. You have a question? Anyone have a quick? Yes. You better be quick.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, thank you for your wonderful class. Prabhu, you were speaking about dreams. I wonder if you could share with us just briefly any dream you might have had about Srila Prabhupada or devotees that you found significant in your life.
Now my dreams, when Srila Prabhupada comes in my dream, it's always, not very often first of all, for me, but others have had significant dreams, but I really don't remember many of them. You'll have to ask others. I'm not that advanced. I just dream all nonsense. Sometimes there's kirtan in my dreams. There was one dream I had which has stayed with me for 20 years, because the kirtan in that dream was so immensely sweet. So immensely sweet. It stayed with me. That kirtan stayed with me. When I woke up, it was still with me. And for a few days, it was with me. And my interpretation of that dream was that was the kirtan that carries us when we leave this body. I had that sense that I was on a bullock cart. I don't know who was leading the kirtan, but we were on a bullock cart and doing kirtan on a bullock cart. And I had that sense that this was but I didn't make it. The next part of my dream that I remember was that I found myself in a palace. And my interpretation is that I got distracted by the heavenly planets. And the next part of my dream was I was in a very modern future city. So then I thought, well, maybe I got a chance to preach. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, that's good. It's all nonsense. Hare Krishna. We're out of time. That's my saving grace. I can't really repeat my silly dream. But the part of the dream that is significant is the kirtan. The rest of it, it's good that you didn't hear. Ekalavya, he asked the question, so he heard. But if you didn't hear, there's no need to repeat it. But retouching on the point of our class today, Krishna has a plan. Krishna is the positive, the all-attractive. If we position ourselves in the negative, in the humble, giving up, emptying, negative means to empty out. When we negate our false ego, then we're automatically attracted to Krishna, and Krishna's plan comes into action, his direct plan, the positive side of his plan. He has the other side, which is the indirect plan to push us over to the positive side. That is Maya's job. And now we're in the positive plan, and we're being engaged in his service. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.